Hi guys, so in yesterday's reflective coach session, John gave us the task to split ourselves up into groups and record ourselves, somebody else record us performing a warm-up. So I split myself, me and Sam Huff went as partners and we split ourselves into a group of 6. And I chose to go first to deliver my warm up. So it was a basic warm up, looking to intro body temperature, so get them moving, different ways of moving, and kind of get them ready for the session. So after observing my own coaching, from looking back at the video that Sam did on me, it was a 5-minute session. I picked out a few things that I'm just gonna discuss. First of all, it was quite strange looking at myself coach. I did a lot of things that I didn't think that I did, both good and bad. I'm just going to start off with a few strengths that I picked out from my own coaching. To start off with, straight away, I'd say that I was enthusiastic. I'm always looking for the players to improve. I want them to do well, and by being enthusiastic, it gives them a bit of motivation to try and work hard for themselves and for you as the coach. At some parts in the video, I got involved and I helped guys out that were maybe struggling a bit or just needed a bit of guidance. So that was one thing. I think it's always important to be enthusiastic. So if you're putting on a session and parents think that you just don't want to be there, then they're not going to be impressed, and it may lead to them not bringing the children back the following week. So I think it's always important to be enthusiastic and look like you want to be there and look like you want them to learn as well as yourself. Another thing that I highlighted was clear information. So normally in my sessions I try to get them going as quickly as I can. I don't want them to be waiting around listening to me talk, because at the end of the day I'm not there to show them what I know. I'm there to help them learn, as well as helping themselves learn. So clear information. So as I got the group in nice and quick, I got them going. I explained what I was looking for, why that was, and I gave them a few clear instructions to what I was looking for. I got them going. I think it was less than a minute I got them going in, which I always aim for at least a minute, but if you can get it under that, it's always good to get them going. And next thing, the use of questions. Questions a big thing within my coaching. Rather than me giving them the answer, I'd rather get it out of them, which shows that they're thinking about things. Rather than say, for example, this is why we passed the ball in this situation. I'd rather ask them, why do you think we might pass it there, or what else do you think we might do? That just shows, it gives me an understanding that my participants are learning, and it gets them thinking about, right, well, what should I do in this situation, or how should I do that, rather than the coach telling me. Use of questions is a big thing when I've been on coaching courses and CPDs and stuff like that, and I've tried to really implement it in my own coaching, because when I first was coaching, like at the start, I used to just give them the answer. I used to just, look, this is what I want. I was very instructive, and as I've developed as a coach and I've got more experience, I'm feeding the information, and it's getting across to the players through them giving me the answers, which I think is really beneficial for them, and it helps me. It shows me that they're understanding and learning. Another thing within my coaching, which I think is a big one, is interventions. So when to intervene and how to do it. So in the session that I did here, I let them have a go first. So I gave them time to think about things, why they were doing it, what they were doing, and then maybe if someone wasn't still doing it correctly, then I just, rather than stop the whole group and maybe embarrass one player, I'd just pull him to one side. Look, this is what we're looking for. Again, using the use of questions, how do you think we might do that? And just feed him a bit of information to give him a better understanding of what we're looking for. And then back in, and then if they're still not getting it, that's when I'd probably intervene and feed the information across myself to see, and then give them another go and to see if they understand. Interventions can be extremely difficult for coaches because they can work both ways. So if you see a player making a mistake on the first attempt and you stop the session and drill that player on doing something wrong, or just because he's not understood what you said, that can damage a player's confidence. He might not want to try it again. He might even not want to play again. So you've got to be careful as a coach of when to intervene and how to intervene. For me personally, rather than stopping a whole session while they're going along with things, or for example, if I'm playing a conditioned game, I'll just bob round and maybe intervene and give a few tips or a few questions just for the players to think about. And then it'll get them thinking while they're playing the game. Look, this is what the coach said. How should I do it? What advice has he given me? And just take that on board, which maybe it might change the way of thinking straight away. So interventions is a big one for me. Don't get me wrong. When I was younger as a coach, I'd be reluctant to step in because I didn't think that I was a good enough coach to transfer my information to them. Or sometimes I used to intervene straight away at the first mistake because I didn't like seeing mistakes, which is something that with more experience I've managed to guide myself away from. Also, I thought that I hit the aim. Obviously, it was a warm-up, got the temperature rising, got different movements, different coordination skills, balance, and I just thought it was a nice way for them to interact with each other, a bit of competition, which players always enjoy. And I thought I hit the target there in just a 5-10 minute warm up, which I was pretty happy with. I've just picked out, from looking back over it, a few of the things that maybe I should have done a little bit better. The first one being guided discovery. So what I mean by that is maybe not giving the players the information and just letting them work things out for themselves. So at one point, I freezed the session. I brought all the players in. I gave them a few questions and a few things that they might want to think about once they go back into the warm-up. That was all they're doing, rather than me transferring the information to them and giving them the information without them having to think. So when they went back in and started with the warm-up again, Jake, one of the participants, was, I wouldn't say struggling, but he didn't. I fed information across to him without really giving him the chance to think about it. So what it was, when one of the taggers was coming to tag one of the players and they were all around the same area, I said, Jake, get into that space, rather than pulling him to one side maybe and thinking, or saying to him, Jake, what do you think you could have done there? Where do you think you could have gone or got yourself in a better position? And I'm sure that he would have gave me the same answer as what I told him. So rather than me doing that, I should have gave a little bit more time for the players to have a little bit more think for themselves, and maybe the same decision would have happened before me even intervening and giving him that information. Guided discovery, I think, that's a big one as well. It's quite hard to do because some or a lot of coaches don't like seeing mistakes, so they'd rather give the players all the information straight away, and that session look how they want it to look, rather than giving the players the chance to find things out for themselves. And most of the time, players know when they make a mistake, so they'll know, right, this is what I've done wrong, and this is how I can correct that, or it won't happen again. So the likelihood of seeing the same little mistake over and over again is quite slim, because players do think, rather than coaches stepping in and saying, look, you're not doing this right, sort it out, etc., etc., which I think guided discovery is a big one. Also, I didn't think that I did this, but looking back, I don't know whether it was because I was coaching my peers, or I wanted to get a lot on film to see how I was coaching and stuff like that. I found myself commentating a bit, so using well done, excellent, good job, rather than actually saying, right, well done, this is what you've done well, and this is why I think you've done that well. So I found myself using a lot of praises, but a lot of just good, yeah, well done, excellent. So sometimes the use of silence, sometimes that's a great tool to use when you're coaching. So let them do things themselves. You can then just take a step back, look what's going on, analyze different people. Maybe you might not notice that someone might be doing something wrong, because you've just found yourself going around, yeah, good, that's good, yeah. So the use of silence is a big one, and it's something I think that I've started to use more as I've developed as a coach, especially when I'm coaching my football team. Maybe if I set them off with something, I intervene with different individual players, or sometimes I just step back and let things unfold for themselves, and let the players make the decisions, make the rules, etc., and me just see how they get on with that and how they deal with that. They're not just, what I found, they're not just players, like they are people. So they're not stupid. They will sort things out for themselves, rather than you stepping in and saying, this is what we're doing, how we're doing it. They probably already know the answer without you having to give it to them. So use of silence can be quite a big one, and that's what I'm trying to implement more into my coaching, and understanding when it's needed and when it's not. So they're just a few things that I picked out from my 5-minute session. I will post a video of my session on WordPress, and I'd like some feedback to see if you guys agree with me, or you think that I did something that I maybe didn't pick up on. So that would be great. Thanks, guys.